Hello, Dazzle. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me today. I am glad that you are here. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the game Still Wakes the Deep. I will be discussing the story of the game and there will be spoilers, so if you plan on playing the game, then I recommend that you come back to this later. All right, so the visual style. This is a stunning game. The rendering of the world is beautiful, and it is part of what makes this game so good. Everything looks so real, even the scary stuff. I think there is a perfect balance between giving me enough light to see what I'm doing and keeping things dark enough to add to the tone of the game. Music and sound effects. The music in this game is masterfully handled. The music augments the emotional journey that the game is taking you on and does it really well. The sound effects of the game are excellent. I often found myself listening to all the noises and wondering what I was going to find waiting for me around the next corner. They even got a few jump scares out of me with the sound effects.
What the fuck? What did you do? No! Douglas! Douglas! Jesus. No. You can't be. Shit. Oh, God.
World and setting. The game is set in the 1970s on an oil rig out in the ocean. It's an interesting time and place to choose to set a horror story. It's got isolation built right into the setting. Given today's technology, there isn't much physical isolation to be had anymore. This setting choice really worked for the story that the game was telling. Additionally, they did a fairly good job in bringing that setting to life in a realistic way. There are a few times that the setting was a bit puzzling, though. I found the monkey bar climbing elements odd and out of place. They didn't feel like they belonged in an oil rig, and I didn't feel that I needed them to be there. In all of those places, there could have been a jump or a fallen piece of wreckage to climb over instead. While I was moving through the world, I often overlooked them because my brain just didn't think to look for monkey bars given the place that I was moving through. The other thing in the setting that it didn't really work for me was the space heaters. I didn't think that needing to warm my character up wasn't realistic, but it felt that these sequences came at random times and that they didn't do anything for the game. I never died from the cold in other places where the heaters weren't available, and I would think that I would have become colder. Could have easily been removed from the game and I wouldn't have missed it, but it could have also been expanded into something that mattered and had real impact. But it would need to be an element throughout the entire game, not just in these weird random sections. A smaller setting issue that I found weird was the vents. I always have issue with the way that vents are made in games. I personally have never seen a building with vents that were large enough for a person to crawl around inside. Not to mention that I have no idea what these vents were venting. And why was Kaz prying the vent cover off? He has a damn screwdriver that he uses for the top two screws. Then he just up and decides to pry off the cover. Why? It's like he's trying to make as much noise as possible so that the monsters can find him. Not to mention the amount of strength that it would take. But Kaz does seem to have stupid amounts of physical ability all throughout this game. Story elements. For me, this is one of the best and the most problematic areas of the game. The horror elements of the game are masterfully handled. They delay the monster reveal, which really builds up the suspense and tension. They lean into the H.P. Lovecraft lore and embrace the uncertainty. Every aspect of the game is used to enhance the horror experience. The music, the sound effects, the visuals, the timing, the way you interact with the world, just everything. They even go so far as to give you reasons to believe that there is dangers in areas where you're actually safe, leaving always one on edge and uncertain where there is a monster. The horror elements in this storytelling are amazing. On the other hand, there are areas in the storytelling that I just couldn't believe. Kaz takes a huge fall that he just could not have survived. Not only does he survive it, he does so without seeming to suffer any problems from it. And the fall just wasn't necessary for the narrative, could easily have been written without it in it at all. Or it could have been written into the horror that Kaz had been affected to a lesser degree than the others, or something. But the story offers us nothing. He just magically is all right when he shouldn't be. The other medical issue that I had was that they made a point to include a medical illness as a plot point, but then didn't represent it well. Roy is diabetic and begins to suffer problems because of it, but they talk about him needing insulin when most diabetics feel the way that he was when their blood sugars are low. And this is difficult and nuanced because the symptoms of high and low blood sugar often overlap. But he was in need of the insulin, so why didn't Kaz go and get it? It seems strange that he was so preoccupied with everything else, but then claimed that Roy was his primary focus. It seems odd that he delayed getting the insulin for as long as he did. The last issue that I had with the story was the prologue of the story itself. How Kaz ended up on the oil rig seems unrealistic and unlikely to me. He didn't seem qualified to be there, and I can't imagine that the word of a cook would ever get someone a job handling the electricity. Why hadn't he been arrested before he made it to the oil rig anyway? It just doesn't seem like he'd be the person that they would want to hire, and it doesn't seem like his legal issues would have allowed him to just skirt off to this job anyway. It was bizarre setup and premise for his backstory. So the characters. Backstory aside, I think that they did a brilliant job bringing these characters to life. The voice acting was amazing. When these characters are engaging with each other, it feels like I am listening to crewmates who have been working together for a long time and have a familiar ease with each other. There is that mix of support and harassment that just feels right. They seem like real people to me. There are those that are brave and willing to venture out into the rig, and there are those that are afraid and choose to hide. And there's even the asshole, because it seems that every workplace has at least one. Overall, I think they did an excellent job with bringing these people to life.
All right, Kaz.
I'm alright. What are you doing up there?
Pipe's leaking. If it's not one thing, it's the other. See this whole rig? It's a pile of shite. It's falling apart. And we've only just started drilling. Fucking Cadal. And fucking Rennick cutting corners.
Aye.
Speaking of, you are in the shite, wee man. Rennick got a letter this morning from the mainland and he's been up to high dough ever since. Heard he's gunning for you.
Well, that's just brilliant.
Christ, I need a smoke. Can't find my lighter anywhere.
Take mine. I don't need it anymore, honestly.
You're a fucking lifesaver.
I'm going to get breakfast.
Alright. I'll see you for darts tonight. We'll put a wee picture of Rennick up on the board for you.
Sounds like a plan. See ya. Is anyone here? Hello? If there's anybody here, fucking say something!
But the only thing that I have to say about characters is why the fuck does Kaz have to yell everywhere he goes? Seriously, I have a really hard time believing that someone would do this. Why would you yell into a room every time you arrive into a new area when you know that the whole damn place is crawling with weird-ass monsters that you have been running and hiding from? The best that I can offer is that Kaz hit his head when he had his fall, and he just isn't processing things properly anymore.
Hello? Anybody in here?
There are warnings of gales in all the general sources.
Oh, shite!
Level of challenge. I played through with all the default settings and found that it was a good challenge. I felt that it was reasonable to work through the game without too much trouble. For me, this was an excellent challenge level. The surprise that I had in this game was that the monsters were not as aggressively hunting me in most areas of the games as I expected that they would be. The user interface. This is an area that they could have improved upon. For the most part, I thought that the game was really good to control, but when it came to the swimming mechanics, what the fuck? Why am I required to use 3 different buttons to navigate my ass through the water? I needed to use the A button to make the arm swim strokes. I needed to use the L left stick to control my direction, which was expected, but I also had to keep it pushed down to swim faster. And then I had to do a A tappy thing to time it right to sprint, and then there was the right trigger that you had to do to do a pull grab thing along the bottom, and it was just bizarrely overcomplicated, and I drowned so many times before I figured out what it was that it actually wanted me to do with all these buttons. It was annoying, it was frustrating, and it just seemed exceptionally unnecessary. And since I am talking about the swimming, and I wasn't sure where else to put this, I'm going to continue to complain about the swimming in this game. While you are swimming, you are required to navigate through the water through holes in the wreckage. It is a royal pain in the ass to figure out where you're supposed to be going. Normally, the game guides you with yellow paint, but under the water, it's really hard to see the yellow paint. Additionally, you can only see the small circle of light, and normally this just doesn't really matter much because you can just kind of look around and take your time to see what you need to see. But once you're under the water, the problem of drowning makes everything time sensitive, and you can no longer spend the time that you need to look around and find the yellow. So you drowned. You drowned a lot, and it's annoying. The other user interface thing that annoyed me is that I never found a way to turn off the vibration on the controller. I get that some people really love that feature, but I really don't. I hate it, and I hate it when I can't turn it off. I find it distracting at best, and if the vibration is overused, it can cause me hand pain. This game didn't get so bad that it had any pain, but I still would prefer not to have it on, and I just don't understand why isn't something that I can choose to turn off, especially when this game gave me so many options of things that I could toggle on or off. This seemed like a basic function that was overlooked.
I still can't believe you went. What are you thinking? Going to that place? Wish you hadn't got yourself into this mess, but you did. You can't run forever. I know you were just trying to do right by me, so I need you to do what's right by us. Now, please, Kaz. I am so tired of fighting. I just want it to be over. I want you home. The girls want you home, but if you don't deal with this, then we are done for good. I love you. But I won't wait forever. Susan.
Novelty or unique qualities. The choice to set the game on an oil rig off the coast of Scotland in 1975 is the unique selling point of this game. It gives the characters a richness of culture that I normally don't get to experience, because I can't think of another game that I have played that is set in Scotland and had a thick Scottish slang. I mean, the slang is thick enough that I would not have understood what they were saying if the subtitles had not been translating. I wouldn't have known. I also have never played a game on an oil rig, so these give the game something fresh and interesting, and I really liked it and I enjoyed it.
You alright, Roy?
Kaz, me old mucker. I do.
McClary! To my office. That means now, not as soon as you're ready. Now!
The sweet sound of Davy Rennick.
You think it's the police?
Can't be surprised, Kaz. Have you heard from Suze?
She's talking about divorce.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kaz. She'll come around.
Not if I get to jail, she won't.
Well, maybe you could have considered that while you were battering Billy Chamberlain's head in.
Cunt slagged off Susie, had it coming.
And there he is. Floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee, and swears like the devil himself. Listen, mate, even if it is the police, maybe it's best to just go back and face it, yeah?
Ugh, I don't know, Roy. I'm fucking scun up with the whole thing.
The Lord loves you, mate, no matter what. And I'm pretty sure Suze does too.
That's all clear for you now, Roy.
Lovely job, thanks, Dobby.
Oh, Trot says he's left your insulin in your cabin.
Oh, bless his little communist socks. Muchly appreciated. Ta. Remember, life is like football. It's not over.
Until the final whistle. Aye. You're a Barnsley fan, so you're pretty much fucked from the off, right?
Oh, I will see you hand for that, McCleary. Off you trot, lad, before his nibs blows a gasket.
The emotional impact. The game is emotionally intense. It is easy to care about the characters. The horror is well developed. The prologue of the story feels a bit overdone. With Kaz's backstory, it feels like a mishandled redemption arc was being tried for, but I don't think that the story needed it. He could have been anyone. Just knowing that he has a family and that he wants to get home to them makes me want to see him win. I keep thinking about his daughters and his wife whenever he was in trouble. I didn't need him to also be struggling with the law. Despite this, the game does grab onto your heart. It displays real people, and then it takes you through the horror of their struggles. Replay value. I personally feel that there is little to no replay value in this game. A lot of the emotional intensity is lost when you've already played through the game and you know where the jump scares are coming from. The first time I played through, it was set on the standard play and it was fabulous. I played through a second time on the story mode and I just don't feel that this mode offers anything worth another playthrough. It really doesn't feel like a story mode to me, but rather it's like easy mode. There isn't any additional story to be had or extra time to explore the world when you play through this mode, and I don't feel like the game was presenting me with anything to consider that really required me to have another look at it. The first playthrough of the game was excellent, and I loved that experience, and going through the second time just didn't deliver anything for me. So do I recommend it? I absolutely feel that this game was worth the first playthrough, but just don't go into this game expecting a ton of depth that isn't there. And not every game needs to have the layers of depth to be a good game. The first playthrough of this game was worth every penny that I spent on it. It was a fabulous experience. Highly recommend it. Well, that's about it for my rambling today. Thanks for coming and spending some time with me. If you like this rambling, click on that like button. It really does help. And until we talk again, you guys be sure to take care of yourselves. Bye!